All right, let me tell you something. Trading is tough. Very fucking tough. Not everyone wins, okay? Futures trading involves substantial risk, tremendous risk, really big fucking risk, and you could lose a lot of money, real money. You could lose your whole fucking nutsack. Past performance? Pfft, don't mean shit about future results. Get the fuck out of here with that. You think you got some magic crystal ball out there telling the future? If that was the case, you'd be a rich asshole, not watching these fucking videos on trading, but on an island eating motherfucking gabagool with Nancy fucking Pelosi, the greatest trader of all mankind. Trade only what you can afford to lose. Do your own fucking research. Don't listen to those retarded twats on X or those shitheads showing off their gains on their sim platforms. They're all bullshit. Forget about it. Seek out professional advice if you need it. This is for educational purposes only. We're sharing ideas, not guarantees. And we're not telling you where to click your little fucking orders either. You got that? Smart people manage risk. Great traders respect it. No members of DS Capital were harmed in the making of this video.
Okay, hello everyone. It's gonna do a post-market debrief. Let's see. So, this was the overnight. We had this swift rejection after we took out yesterday's full session low, which is really a good indication that the lows are likely in, or at least a decent low is found. The hypotheses were to either attempt higher, kind of still get stuck here, and fall back in, maybe test the yesterday's full session VPOC, previous settle, all that other good stuff, and then the overnight VPOC. That didn't happen. What happened was another hypothesis was to come up here, maybe pull back, and then to head higher. The upper targets were 63. 63.13 was the IB high. Came in. And then after that, let's go ahead and go to different charts. So here's the action. We had a responsive open to pull back into this area against this higher low. This was the area that I was watching for to hold and was able to get a good pre-market trade off. Unfortunately, I removed my risk from below. There was a risk at 36 and would have still held it, which was kind of stupid of me, but whatever. This came back through the open, held it, went up to 62.86 before pulling back at a decent, there was a good trade. The previous high of day, the open, a decent confluence. It's kind of hard which confluences to tell will work. It's more of a matter of watching for a particular reversal pattern to take the stab. That happened, 63 got hit, and then after we had some news to press back down, that trade got stopped out, the rest of it. And then kind of meandered around. It looked like 63 was the high, and there was a triple TPO here at 62.52. It just looked like it needed to test lower before eventually going higher, and then boom, the news about the unmanned drone was shot down, the Iran drone, and sent the market upwards in about a minute to span from 62.60s up to 63.74. And that was pretty impressive action. After this was really quick action. There was no way to actually trade that unless you're a really good news trader, in my opinion. Then it pulled back to the IB high, failed to make a new high, pulled back into this region, which looked like prior resistance in the 63s, along in the mid VWAP pocket. Didn't make a new high, then pulled back even deeper against the open yet again, and the full session mid, and then it started to change character. Into the close, we actually closed above the IB and shifted the full session VPOC. And then after that, it just started to run up again. Some of the defects were taken care of at 63.95. And this was a pretty impressive day if you had some sort of position on with a runner. If I didn't get stopped out on my position, if I actually held it, didn't move my stop, I would have got my target, sat with my dick in my hand, and then would have been able to get this because it's kind of like the trade that I would just walk away from and just see if the rest of it gets stopped out. I was actually hunting for a pullback trade back here, maybe like the break of the IB low, and then kind of a pullback, like a look below and fail of the IB low to hold this kind of confluence with the full session VWAP, and it just went off to the races. Completely missed that opportunity, but hey, that's what news does. I was away while taking a look at some of this other action. There was some decent setups against here and right about here, but that's kind of like a trade into the close. Like you really have to be thinking that this is going to head higher into the session, which it actually did. It was actually pretty impressive. I was wondering if we were going to close within the IB and the full session VPOC that was here. But this started to get back out of the IB and close outside the IB, which was kind of nice because in the beginning it looked like I forgot which period it was, but this is a decent tail. If we were to close here, it actually would let us know that we might have found sellers against Friday's action against that 63.64 full session low. So in terms of the quant trade, any long here, which the biggest mistake was fucking around with my stop. I know sometimes the market has been conditioned. It's conditioned me to adjust my stops just to, I don't know. It is what it is. I kind of feel like a fucking idiot, but whatever. I got one target, the nice part, but I failed to get something else. This would have been a one and done trade. This is an actually very beautiful type of quant trade that sets up. This is a trade from the over under, hits the first target. This has a high 85% chance of hitting when the turn is here. And then this guy comes up. This also, there's a conditional probability that if this guy gets hit, there's also a conditional probability that this guy's also going to be hit. So yeah, not much to say about this day except it's riddled with fucking news. To be honest, if anybody had the short against this resistance zone that would have made it for the IB low, it looked good until the news basically said, hold my fucking beer, and takes out your stop in less than a minute. So there's really nothing to do there. Also, if you're holding a runner and you see a triple TPO low, and you could just kind of wonder, like, God, is this really going to go ahead and hold? Maybe it will fix itself by a few ticks and then go on up. The smalls were not really doing much. They were getting trapped. Anytime they would make a low and get stuck, they would get squeezed. And very large contracts were trading really high. So that was one of the reasons why I wasn't too keen on taking a short and trying to get those lower targets, because I just didn't feel that enough ground was going to be given away from those very large positions. So anyways, that is the video for today. What this sets up for in the overnight is a further exploration up, barring news, of course. And we might see some of the extended targets from today's numbers. If 63.55 didn't really cap, actually this is a much larger area, but I just marked it as a midpoint. But the range went from like the 38s all the way up to 72, so it's a much bigger band. It seemed to have been the cap for the day, but it just kept going. The other next targets were in 65.20, 65.30, 65.60. So there's definitely some potential in the overnight for those targets to hit. Just got to see how numbers might update. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. This is a pretty nice trading day. It seems like the best trade was the earliest trade, and then it's really much just kind of seeing where everything went. It might have been hard to kind of fuck around here and actually hold something. Like maybe this deeper dish pullback against here, if you might have caught in a long and still was trying to hold for the IB high. I mean, it pulled back. If you set some sort of stop against 62.52, maybe 3 ticks below it, you wouldn't have gotten stopped out, and then you would have sailed to the upside on a news event. But there really wasn't a lot of context to take a pullback buy again, because if this is pulling back and failing to make new highs, and this is pulling back again, the market's likely going to check lower than 62.52. It's going to check the IB low. It's going to check this confluence area of the full session levels. So, holding something like that, again, you could hold your trade, let the market take you out, let your stop get taken out, and let the market tell you that you're wrong. Yeah. Anyways, tomorrow is going to be EIA at 10:30 Eastern. We'll see what kind of fuckery that implies, and then I'll be watching the markets later on tonight and seeing if there's going to be any opportunities. If any of the levels are highly spaced, I'm going to be probably trying to take some sort of position. A note about taking positions in Asia. Asia usually gets mowed over by the European session most of the time. So if you catch some sort of trade, like a pullback buy in Asia and hoping that it holds, really what happens is Europe comes in and says, no, fuck you, we're going to take that out, and then they're going to make a new high and low. That's more often than not that happens. So, okay, that's the recording for the day. I will talk to you later. Take care, guys.